When I was younger, I often remember waking up in the early hours of the morning. With dread, I would rear my head toward my alarm clock and hope that there was still enough hours left to get a decent night's sleep, only to find those same three numbers staring back at me from the night before. 3:33 a.m. At first I thought nothing of it, a mere coincidence. But when it kept happening, I began to consider the chances of having woken up that very hour, in that very minute. Did it mean something? Was there some otherworldly power trying to commune with me? This led me down a bit of a rabbit hole in my efforts to find out what significance the time of 3:33 a.m. had, not just in the sense of mythology and history, but also in the hopes of finding a more scientific explanation. As it would turn out, there were others just like me who had the gift of waking up consistently at this sacred hour, although there was no conclusive definitive explanation as to why this was the case. As with most things, different people put forward different ideas, and in today's episode, we'll be diving into the mythology and beliefs surrounding 3:33 a.m. and how modern research can shed some light on why some of us might be more likely to wake during this small window. In spiritual circles, many people believe that waking up at 3:33 a.m. is not a random break in our sleep cycle, but actually an important message from some kind of divine power. To some, most notably those who subscribe to the concepts of numerology, there are those who believe that repeating numbers like 111, 222, or 333 are angelic numbers. Waking up to these times or seeing these numbers in any capacity during one's day-to-day could be, according to these beliefs, be an effort by angelic forces to communicate an important message. Some might see these as spirit guides as opposed to full-blown angels, but in any case, the general gist remains the same, that he or she who has seen these numbers is protected, or that these entities are merely letting themselves be known. In a similar belief, the numbers could indicate that a person is aligned in their life purpose and that they're on the right track, encouraging them to continue as they are doing. From a Christian perspective, the number 3 has profound symbolic meaning. First and foremost, the number 3 is quite obviously associated with the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which represents God's completeness and perfection, according to believers. In this context, believers might interpret waking up at 3:33 a.m. or seeing the number 333 as a message from the divine, or an invitation to reflect upon one's life. We see the number 3 appear quite frequently in biblical texts, most notably Jesus praying 3 times before his crucifixion, or Jesus returning on the 3rd day. In some ways, I imagine some believers may view the number 333, or 333, symbolically, as a means to deepen their faith in their God. In folklore, the time between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. is considered in some circles to be that of the witching hour, or the devil's hour, and this is exactly what it sounds like, a time believed to be filled with supernatural phenomena, where witches, demons, and ghosts appear to be at their most powerful. Why this is the case is unknown, but one theory suggests that this time was chosen by the devil, as it is an inversion and therefore a mockery of the time in which Jesus Christ was said to have died, that being 3 p.m. There doesn't appear to be a historical account that details when the witching hour came about, nor whether it held any significance to communities beyond colloquial usage. The earliest known usage of such a term was written in a mid-18th century poem by a Reverend Matthew West, in his Night, an ode. Interestingly, West doesn't refer to the witching hour taking place between 3 and 4 am, but instead at midnight, where he describes the transition between sunset and dusk. Colloquially, the witching hour may be used to refer to a period of bad luck or where something wicked, supernatural or not, may be more likely to happen. Some see the witching hour in the last hour of stock trading between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern. Others might see it in the last minute of a sports game, where the opposing team somehow clinches a win in the final moments. Nowadays, I see it as any time I upload a video and the algorithm decides to bury me. In other beliefs, the witching hour could be associated with a phenomenon where infants or young children cry for an extended period of time during the hour of or before their bedtime, where they express signs of irritability or frustration with no known cause. For young babies, the Mesopotamians would explain this phenomena away by the idea of Lelutu, demons that would trespass in the early hours of the morning to harm or even kill newborns. In other early beliefs, this was also attributed to the mother of demons, Lilith, who, according to apocryphal texts, would prey on the newborn. While spiritual interpretations might offer a rich meaning to the experience of waking up at this particular hour, there are more psychological and biological explanations available. One explanation is that the human body operates on a biological clock called the circadian rhythm, which regulates sleep and wakefulness. Typically, sleep cycles last around 90 minutes, during which the body transitions through different stages of sleep. Around 3 am, depending on what time one might go to sleep, people often reach the lighter stages of sleep, or are about to transition between cycles, which may make them more susceptible to waking up. Environmental factors such as temperature drops or noise disturbances can also prompt a person to wake up at a particular time. Another possible explanation for waking up at 3:33 am is stress or anxiety. Nighttime awakenings are common during periods of high stress or emotional turbulence. The brain might become hypervigilant during the night, particularly in the early hours, making it easier to wake up in response to small stimuli. The recurring wake-up time might seem significant, but it could merely reflect the body's reaction to stress, rather than any divine intervention. From a cognitive perspective, confirmation bias might explain the perception that waking up at 3:33 am has spiritual or mystical significance. As a child, I certainly believed that there had to have been a more magical reason as to why I was repeatedly waking up at this specific time, even though I'd probably woken up at dozens of times and thought nothing of it. Confirmation bias refers to the human tendency to notice, remember, and give more weight to information that supports pre-existing beliefs, while ignoring information that contradicts them. For example, if someone believes 333 is a divine number, they are more likely to notice waking up at that time and assign meaning to it, while dismissing other times that they might wake up, like 2:45 or 2:40. The pattern becomes self-reinforcing, leading the individual to focus on the significance of 333, or whatever time they are waking up at. As we age, sleep tends to become more fragmented, and waking up during the night becomes more common. Hormonal changes, such as the decline of melatonin production, can also lead to midnight awakenings. These physiological processes, combined with the tendency to look for meaning in patterns, may explain why someone might consistently wake up at a certain time. Whilst consistently waking up at 3:33 am can be scientifically explained through natural process, like transitioning between sleep cycles, hormonal shifts, or confirmation bias, the mystery remains for those who are convinced that there is something more sinister at play. For some, the witching hour is more than just a time for witches and demons to have their fun, but a time when the barrier between the physical and spiritual worlds is said to be at its thinnest. Could this time of night be a window through which angels send messages, or God makes his presence known? Or could this be a gateway for something far less welcomed? For now, we remain poised between two worlds, one of science, comforted by the rationality of our biology, and one of fear, haunted by the possibility that something darker might very well lurk in the silence of the night. Let me know your thoughts on the witching hour in the comments below, and tell me your experience when it comes to waking up at certain times of the night. As always guys, if you've enjoyed today's episode, then don't forget to leave this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.